So they changed the way that they're doing seasons, and this is something that I am actually a fan of in terms of everything we know about season 17. This is probably the best thing that they've done with season 17 is that they're really changing up the format of how things are done. And something else that I found out today, which we'll talk about later in the stream, is in regards to how they do the challenges or the trials for each season, which is something that I've talked about not liking how they've done it for a long time now, and I think it's needed a refresh for a long time, and they finally are doing it, and they're doing a good job with it from what I can see. So let's start off with part one. So I guess first let me explain how the season's going to be broken up. There's three parts. Each part is 1 month long. So the first month's update is going to be where we get like the big new content features. So it's the stuff that's going to be permanent in the game and are brand new technically. The second part of the season is going to be like a limited time event, and these limited time events are going to last for the full month of the season, and they could potentially come back in the future, but for the time being, they're going to be limited time. So that's something to know about that. And then part three is going to be basically updating something that already exists in the game. And for this season, it's going to be the skeleton forts, as which they are now going to be changed to the Reaper fortresses. But first, I want to talk a little because it's something that I've complained about with how they've had the season format for a while now. The trials that they have in the game, so basically like the weekly, monthly, seasonal challenges that you can do to get renown in the game, most people don't even do them at all. They just kind of ignore it because it's easy to get renown playing the game normally, which is a good thing. I don't want that to change. But if you actually try to do the trials, they haven't even worked for the last several seasons. I've tried to do them and they're completely bugged. Some of them don't even show up properly. It's just had a ton of problems. So it's really needed a update for like a year now, over a year. So what they're doing now is they're changing it to have more of an overview page where you can basically see each of the acts, so Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and those are going to have challenges related to them, as well as have cosmetics that you can earn from doing the challenges. So this is, I think, a great change. It kind of reminds me of stuff that we have like with Fortnite, where with Fortnite you'll have like weekly challenges sometimes, and those will have like their own specific cosmetics outside of the battle pass that they have or outside of other ways to get cosmetics. So that's pretty cool. I think we can go ahead and hop in to Insiders and I can actually show y'all what that actually looks like. It is very early on in development. There's a lot of like missing text and text that looks weird and stuff. So don't judge it too harshly, but it will be nice to kind of take a look at it. And while that loads up, we can just hop back in here. Just to be clear, it's also bringing in the time limit rewards. These are going to be time limited cosmetics that you can get. So I'm excited about that. I know a lot of people don't like the time limited cosmetics. They get upset about those being in the game. But I actually really like time limit cosmetics. We're in Insiders now. And you'll notice if we go to the pirate log, give it a chance to load. If you click into the here, you'll notice that trials are gone. So all we have now is the season pass as well as the events tab, which I feel like they should change this a little bit more. There's really no reason for us to go into there like that. I feel like maybe we just move events to the quest table on our ship, and then that frees up the space so we just have a more clean UI in the pirate log. So we just go directly into the season pass and we don't have to have a sub menu just to get to it. So this is the new tab we were talking about. This is how they're going to do challenges and stuff going forward for seasons. So you have like an overview that shows you the 3 acts. Obviously this is all placeholder stuff, so don't really judge it too much. I am curious to see what kind of rewards we get for them. But it's basically, from what I can see, is each act has like its own cosmetic that you can get. So you see that, and it will give you a little bit more information. So when we're in here, you have all your different challenges that you can do for that act. So this is going to be stuff like, I'm just guessing because we have no idea right here. But it might be stuff like selling a certain amount of the black powder kegs to the smugglers. Or it might be, completing smuggler voyages or something like that. So that could be like Act 1. And then Act 2 could be stuff like completing turning in like the painting that we talked about. Could be stuff like that. And then each act shows that it would have cosmetics tied to it. I don't think it's going to be cosmetics tied for each specific challenge, but that's probably going to be a placeholder to show like the renown or something that you get for completing it. And then that basically kind of covers it. So from what I can see, you're going to get probably a cosmetic for each part, so 3 limited time cosmetics for the season, which I'm really excited about. I think that's a good amount. I think a lot of people, even if they don't want to admit it, really love exclusive time limit cosmetics that they have that other people don't have. So I think this is a great change. Really excited about it. Um, and honestly, it might be one of the best new additions for the season. Because as we talked about, there wasn't really too much other things changed. Something else I did notice when I was taking a peek at this earlier today before the stream is that it looks like they're changing the Bilge Rat tab. So the Bilge Rat tab is changing to Adventures at Sea. I think that's a more fitting name, but I think it's just kind of a bandage solution and not really addressing the main problem. Whereas the main problem with this tab, the former Bilge Rat tab, now this Adventures at Sea tab, is that it's just too cluttered. It wasn't meant for the Bilge Rat adventures that we had at the beginning, so those short amount of ones like that we got at the beginning of that, and then they just started using it for every single update that we ever got into the game and just adding stuff there. But really, a lot of these accommodations should be moved to their respective place, and if there isn't a place available yet, we should start thinking of new ways to organize this stuff. Stuff that just makes sense, essentially. So, this Reaper Rising stuff right here. Why are all these accommodations here and not within the Reaper's Bones accommodations? Because Reaper's Bones has their own accommodations here. If you are a player that came after Season 16, you would be super confused why Reaper accommodations could be found here, and then also in here. And then also in here with the Flame Rising accommodations. If you know what seasons came out, then yeah, it makes sense to you. Oh, this is season 13 here. Here's season 12. Here's season 11. Here's season 10. And also season 10. It makes sense if you know what the seasons have been, if you're a veteran player. But if you're a player that's starting in season 17, you have no experience with anything that's come before with Sea of Thieves, this is the most confusing thing that's ever been seen. And I think they just need to change it. Another example is this Wild Seas accommodation. We have a Hunter's Call section right here with its own accommodations. Even if you didn't want to replace this because you have all the fish and stuff kind of nicely organized, you could literally just add another tab right here and just literally plop it from here. So take Wild Seas, put it in here, and have the Wild Seas tab right where the splash tails are, and then just kind of shift that over. Problem solved right there. I think that can be seen with a lot of the stuff. Some of the stuff is going to be a little bit more tricky to do, but I think some stuff can be merged. So the Treasures of Adventure, Skull Siren Song, Chest of Fortune, Ashen Treasures, even Buried Treasures, those could all be merged into, Treasures on the Seas tab or something and merge all those accommodations together. I think it just needs to be kind of a little bit easier to organize because there's so many times I have people in the comments that are like, where do I find the accommodation? They have no idea where to look for it. And, I can't really blame them because Rare has made it super confusing with all the stuff being so, haphazardly thrown together. So, I'm interested to see. It's an interesting step forward with this to have it change from the Bilge Rat tab to Adventures at Sea. Interesting thought, though, is what if in the future the reason that they're making this change is so they can set up having the Bilge Rats be a bigger presence in the game, so they need to free up a spot so that the Bilge Rats can have their own faction in place on this list. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I would like to see that. So that's the only real big change with that I noticed. I didn't really notice anything else here. They haven't added the new accommodations in here. I've been interested to see that.